And here's what's happening in your weekend sports.
Weekend Sports is brought to you by Jason Ernest at Mountain West Lawyers. A two-game series between the Miami Marlins and the Pittsburgh Pirates, scheduled to be held in Puerto Rico, has been moved to Miami. Because of concerns about the Zika virus, a number of players on each team objected to playing in San Juan on May 30th and 31st. The commissioner said he fully understands the disappointment by those in Puerto Rico to the relocation of the games. The MLB and the Players Association did everything possible to adequately address the concerns raised by players and still play the games in Puerto Rico. But despite extensive efforts, they were unable to develop a workable solution. The Center for Disease Control said in April its employees had tested over 6,000 specimens since Puerto Rico became the first U.S. jurisdiction to report local transmission of the Zika virus. 683 showed evidence of current or recent infection. 9 of those cases, or 1%, also showed signs of low blood platelets. Because Zika virus is primarily spread by mosquitoes, the CDC recommends that travelers to Puerto Rico protect themselves from mosquito bites. In baseball, Faith Lutheran beat the Trojans 10-0 last week. There were a couple of controversial calls in the game, one in favor of the Trojans and one not. The Trojans will start playoffs on Tuesday at Boulder City, the first-place seed in the Sunrise League. The Trojans were at Cheyenne on Thursday to finish their 10-7 game, which Pahrump was leading when the game was called due to rain at the top of the 5th. The game was past the deadline. Hornets baseball played Spring Mountain and split the doubleheader, winning the first game 13-12 and losing the nightcap 8-1. Also in non-conference action on Tuesday, Beatty traveled to Arizona and swept Beaver Dam 16-2 and 15-11. This has been your Weekend Sports. I'm Noah Began for News 46.
Nathan Addison Hospice held their annual butterfly release to remember and honor the loved ones we have lost. Here's Susan Holacek with more.
Butterflies were beautiful. They were huge this year. We had some extras, which was really nice. So we all got a chance to let them soar to heaven.
Yeah, you guys gave them out to all the people that didn't have them, and we got to take some really good shots of that. People were so excited and happy, but this is a moment for them to remember their loved ones, to kind of have a moment of reflection.
Yes, we try and do this seriously. We try and do what we call a celebration of life twice a year. And so the butterfly is a beautiful, ritualistic, actually is involved with our American Indian. A lot of different tribes, whether it's Shoshone or Cherokee or whatever, they all have their own butterfly legend. And some of those legends are gorgeous. But so it's a ritualistic ceremony that goes back a long, long time. And so that's one of our celebrations of life. And then we do another one, Light Up a Life, in December. So it's just our way of, again, trying to give back to the community and letting us share their emotions.
I saw a lot of people whispering a little secret to their butterfly when you were talking, speaking about the legend of the butterfly.
That's Ann Patrice. She's our rural clinical manager. If you've been here before, we have a wonderful Indian couple that usually tells us the legend. And unfortunately, they were going to be on the road in May, the whole month of May, beginning today. And so they couldn't do it. And so Anne said that she would do it. But that, to me, is one of the most important parts of the ceremony, is to understand, where does this come from?
It's an important moment for so many people who may be going through pain or just want to remember people that they've lost in recent years or even years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it has nothing to do with whether or not people were on our service or whatever, like you say. It's just a moment of enjoying that time to celebrate somebody that's passed out of your life, whether it's a friend, spouse, whatever. Just taking a few minutes out of the day.
If you're in a situation where it just seems there's no hope, No to Abuse may have the answer. Here's Sally Kerr with more about the programs available at Nevada Outreach and Training.
Here at Nevada Outreach Training, we have several programs that serve the community. We have No to Abuse, which is probably our best known program, and that serves the victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, date violence. So we try to get, of course, young men and women educated on what dating violence looks like and how to protect themselves. And this time of year, that's really important as people go off to proms and off to colleges and maybe the first time away from home, and to recognize how to protect themselves. So we try and do that education for those young people.
Did anybody sign up for those classes?
We have classes that are offered for women's support groups and anger management, but they can come meet with our program manager, or we could put try to do things like at the school, where we would have notice and they would actually come meet at the school and meet in the fishbowl and do just some talks about what that looks like and how to protect themselves and how to keep themselves safe. So that as those programs come out, we get that information out at the school.
So are you doing that right now in the schools?
We do not have a program planned this very day, but I will be sure that you get the date for the upcoming program so that we get that information out and get the kids there. We work oftentimes with who is now the new school social worker, Sierra Phillips, and we'll get that information through her in the Youth Works program. So there's that. April is also Child Abuse Prevention Month, so as people go into the schools, they will see blue pinwheels. We handed them out at the community Easter picnic as well, just to remind people to always report what they see as child abuse, and how to recognize child abuse, and just to be aware that there's nothing that speaks more as a country as to what we're doing with our babies and our young kids.
How can people find out more information on how to recognize child abuse?
We do have an upcoming Enough Abuse campaign that is a statewide campaign. We've done one really good set of seminars that was a day at the Communities Coalition that we put on together with them. There are going to be a lot of those coming up because I'm taking that training. So I'm doing the Train the Trainer for the Enough Abuse campaign, and then we will have days of afternoons of seminars that will teach people how to see the signs and who they report to, what does mandatory reporting look like, what's the difference between regular child development and child assault, and how do we make people aware that child development's totally natural and what your child might be doing is completely normal versus something that's happened to them that's causing a trauma. So those
And they can also Google that information, right?
They can, and the state of Nevada has the Enough Abuse campaign online. You can get a lot of information through it. If you look up Nevada Enough Abuse, you'd get a lot of that information.
Your weather when we return.